The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race officially concluded for Michigan International Speedway, and Stewart Friesen wins a wild and wacky race and steals the win at Michigan. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Michigan International Speedway. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go talk about it. So, let's get to the end of this race and get to the final 30 or 40 laps, because that's where a lot of the chaos started. So, there of course were a couple big wrecks happen at the beginning of stage number 3. Roger Groove had got back on the lap, was having tire issues all day long. He had crashed into the outside wall. Some guys would come down pit road during this time to try to play a little bit of field strategy. And then on the next restart, another big wreck would happen between Morgan Baird, Nathan Bird, where they actually would have to red flag the race to get damage off the wall because the safer barrier had been damaged and the wall had been damaged quite a bit. They would have to go ahead and get that damage fixed and would red flag it for about 10 minutes, or actually almost 20 to 30 minutes at that point. During this caution, we would see a little bit of strategy happen. There would be some guys that come down pit road, including Carson Hocevar, while many of the rest leaders stayed out. And then on the restart, Grant Enfinger lead the field from the outside, Matt Crafton on the inside, and Grant Enfinger got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. And then for the next 10 to 20 laps, we saw some fantastic and amazing racing up front. Grant Enfinger would have the race lead. But you had guys like Lane Riggs, Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain, all those, and Gio Ruggiero too, all those guys who had fresh tires near the end of the race, charging their way up to the front near the end of this event. And we started seeing some fantastic and great racing between all 4 or 5 of these guys. The racing was just incredible between all of them. They were going back and forth, battling for the lead, battling for third or second, making incredible moves to get up to the front. It was just some of the best racing we have seen at Michigan. And then with around 20 laps to go, Lane Riggs got a really good run on the inside of Grant Enfinger and was able to take the race lead. And then Ross Chastain, he got a great run a couple laps later, and he got the race lead. And then Grant Enfinger got another great run the next lap or so, and he took the race lead. And then Carson Hocevar got a great run, moved up to third, and we just continue seeing some all-time great and badass racing between all these guys. And going down in turn number 1, with around 10 to go, with Ross Chastain having the lead, Carson Hocevar and Ross battle side by side for the race lead going into turn number 3. Ross would get loose under and get sideways under Carson Hocevar, but was able to continue going. That was one of the best saves I have seen in quite some time in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition, and Carson got a pretty big lead because of that. But then all of a sudden, everything would change after a great battle with 10 laps to go when Lane Riggs would have a flat tire. He would come down pit road and the tire carcass came off his truck. This would bring off the caution. And then during the yellow, Carson Hocevar, who also had a flat tire from some damage, he would come down pit road, including Grant Enfinger, Chandler Smith, Andres Perez, Stewart Friesen, Matt Crafton, Matt Mills. All those guys would come down pit road, handing the lead to Gio Ruggiero. And then on the restart, this is where the chaos begins. On the restart, Gio Ruggiero lead the field from the outside, but Ross Chastain on the inside. And they would give a really, really big push, as Ross Chastain got a really, really big push from Tanner Gray. And then Corey Heim got in the back of Gio Ruggiero, and this caused a crash very similar to the clash from 2020. A lot of drivers got collected, including Chastain, Ruggiero, Gray, Mosak, Corey Heim, Daniel Hemmer, Ty Majeski, Jack Wood, Daniel Hemmer, Chandler Smith, and Jake Garcia would all end up getting caught up in the wreck and incident. Many of those guys' day would come to an end. Just a big mistake on the restart. Gio Ruggiero had control of this race. He's supposed to be the first driver to go, and it seemed like Corey Heim and it seemed like Tanner Gray were anticipating it way too much. They got up there, they anticipated, got way too much of a run, and they tried to make a move. Again, the leader controls the restart, and that could have absolutely been all avoided, and instead, we had a lot of chaos happen there. That was one of the most messy restarts I've seen. We were criticizing Cletus McFarland for his bad restart in the ARCA race, but I think this is almost worse at this point because these guys are professionals. Just a really, really bad restart and terrible judgment from everybody there. That was pretty stupid, if you ask me. And then on the first overtime attempt, you had Corey LaJoie lead the field from the outside with Dawson Sun on the inside. And Corey LaJoie got a really great restart and was able to clear for the lead. As Frankie Muniz is up front, he would have a terrible restart. And then we saw Wallace Allen bounce off the outside wall, get a ton of damage. And then going in turn number 3, when Hemrick made move to the inside, he would have a flat tire going in turn number 3, and it had hit the outside wall, ending his day and bringing out the caution. Tough break for Daniel Hemrick, who was having a pretty good run at the time. And then on the restart, you had Corey LaJoie lead the field from the outside with Jake Garcia on the inside, and Corey LaJoie got a great restart and was able to clear for the lead. But going into turn number 1, Grant Enfinger got a fantastic run going inside of turn number 1, and he took the race lead. As they were going down the back straightaway, the big one was strike once again. As Matt Mills would get in the outside wall, he would slow down a little bit after getting the outside wall, and Andres Perez, Jack Wood, and Tony Breidinger would all end up getting collected in the crash, bringing out the caution. Meanwhile, Carson Osbar got a penalty for a restart violation. Tough break for all those guys who had ran really well all day. Matt Mills running decently all day long. His day would come to an end. Just a big mistake there. And then on the final restart, we would see Grant Enfinger lead the field from the outside, but Stewart Friesen, who had not been a factor all day, he would restart on the inside. And going into turn number 1, they would remain side by side bound for the lead. And as they went to turn number 3, Stewart Friesen gets a fantastic run, makes the move to the inside, and is able to take the race lead from Grant Enfinger. And as it came to the white flag of the event, he was closing in very quickly, that being Grant Enfinger trying to make the move to the inside, to the outside, was trying to do everything he could to get up there and challenge for the lead, but to run out of time and coming off the corner after a lot of chaos at the end, Stewart Friesen comes off the corner, snaps a winless streak that goes back 72 races, wins his first race of 2025, his first race in 2022, and holds off Grant Enfinger to pick up the win. What a major upset for Stewart Friesen to pick up this win. Stewart Friesen has had a really frustrating season. He made comments earlier this year. We talked about this on the channel. Stewart Friesen made comments in Rockingham in Texas that he wasn't sure why he was doing this anymore and why he wanted to go ahead and continue racing in the truck series because he had been involved in a couple crashes and had been having a little bit of a frustrating season. So this is a much-needed confidence booster for Stewart Friesen. Like I mentioned, it's been 3 years since Stewart Friesen last won. He was never factored in this race to begin with, but it's kind of a feel-good win for Stewart Friesen to get it done. Congratulations to him on picking up his first truck win in quite some time. I think it's like 6th or 7th career truck series win. So congratulations to him on snapping a long winless streak and picking up that win. It's not a well-deserved win fully, if you ask me, but congratulations to him on picking up the win. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the race results, and I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. So Stewart Friesen picks up the win. Grant Enfinger finishes second. So close to picking up that first truck win of the year. Grant generally had a really solid day, ran top 5, top 10 near the end, was in the middle of the pack most of the early portion, but got up front because of strategy, showed some really good pace and speed near the end, and comes home with a runner finish in second. Solid day for him. Luke Fenhaus finished third. He won the pole for this race. Faded back early, but they got strategy, survived all the carnage, didn't get involved in any of the chaos, and comes home, and I believe gets his first ever top 5 finish in truck competition. So good run for Luke, a much-needed run for the driver, 66. Solid day for him. He finishes third. Ben Rhodes finished fourth. He struggled most of the day, but survived the carnage near the end, and comes home with a really solid top 5 finish. Good finish at the end of the day for Ben Rhodes, who will cut that gap on the cutoff line. Corey LaJoie finished fifth. I thought LaJoie was going to win this race, to be honest. After all the restart crashes and all that stuff, I really thought Corey LaJoie was going to be in position to pick up the win in victory. He lost it on the restart, but still a solid day for Corey LaJoie, the first of 9 races behind the wheel. He never really had the pace and speed, but got up there because he survived some of the carnage, was inside the top 15 at points, to be fair. Does come home in the top 5, though. Solid day for him. Matt Crafton finishes 6th. He ran 20th most of this race. Survived the wrecks like a lot of other drivers and salvages a top 10 finish in 6th place. Overall, really good day for ThorSport altogether. A good run for Matt Crafton. He finishes 6th. Jake Garcia finished 7th. He ran around 10th to 12th most of this race. Has some decent speed. Ran top 10 quite a bit of the event. Lost some track position as the race progressed and went on. Solid day for him to finish inside the top 10 and 7th. Pretty good day, all things considered. Chandler finished 8th. He never really had the speed to contend all day today, but he does come home in the top 10. He survived a lot of chaos in the wrecks near the end and does come home in the top 10. Not a bad day, all things considered. Andres Perez finishes 9th. He generally ran top 10 a lot of this race. He had pretty good speed, one of the best runs I've seen him put on because he does have experience in racing the ARCA event. It did help today because he comes home with a solid top 10 and 9th. Good run for Andres Perez. And Lane Riggs finished 10th. He was in position to win, had the flat tire, never got back up to contend for the victory, but nonetheless a solid day, all things considered. He is in 10th. Solid day for Lane Riggs. Carson Osbar finished 11th. I think he had the best truck in the field most of the day. His truck was really, really good. Restart violations, tire issues cost him a shot at victory, but I think he'll use some of that momentum and the speed they showed today. So I think he had a really good truck. He almost got another win for the 7, considering Kyle Busch has already won this year. A solid run for Carson. Probably should have won, but it could have been worse, all things considered. Gio Ruggiero finished 12th, ran top 5 near the end, got caught up on the restart crash. Solid day for him, all things considered, after the incident, so he does get a top 15. Dawson Sutton finishes 13th. Frankie Muniz gets the top 15 and 14th, his second career top 15 finish. He made that mistake on the restart, but he does get a top 15, so not a bad day for Frankie, who struggled all season. Actually shows him one of his better races when it comes to speed as well, so not a bad day for him. Ty Majeski finished 15th, was inside the top 10 a lot of this race, but lost track position, got caught up in some of the incidents near the end. He faded back quite a bit. Spencer Boyd finishes 16th, Tanner Gray finished 17th. He was involved in some of the big wrecks. Corey Heim finished 18th, once again had a truck capable of winning. My pick coming into this race to win. Nothing to show for at the end of the day. Because of that, he finishes 18th, tough break, but I think he'll still have a pretty big points lead, all things considered. Connor Mosack finishes 19th, Jack Wood finished 20th. Connor Mosack had a really good truck early in this race, but got caught up in some incidents in the event. Caden Honeycutt, who had that flat tire near the end of the race, he finished 21st. Tough race. I think he had a shot at winning this race, but nothing to show for it. He finished 21st. Tony Breidiger caught up in that last big wreck, finished 22nd. Matt Mills finished 23rd. Tyler Ankerman had flat tires near the end of the event, finished 24th. Josh Rayum finished 25th. Ross Chastain, who had one of the strongest trucks in the field, fell out of the race because of some of the crashes. He finished 26th. Dale Hemrick, who crashed out as well, finished 27th. Lawless Allen finished 28th. Morgan Bear finished 29th. Nathan Burr finished 30th. Roger Crew finished 31st. And Norm Benning finished last in 32nd. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. This race is so hard to kind of react to, and really so kind of hard to rank on where this is going to be, because it kind of started off, I'll be honest, the first couple stages was not the most exciting. Sure, you had really good battles at the end of the stages between Carson Osbar and Corey Heim, and they put on a really good show near the end of the stages, but it was very difficult to pass. When we got to stage 3 and had that great battle though in stage 3, the race is definitely on its way up to being one of the best truck races of the year, because that battle for the 10 to 20 lap stretch was really, really good between guys like Hocevar and Enfinger and Ruggiero and Heim, all those guys up there, Lane Riggs as well. They were all putting on a really good show. And then after all that, in the wrecks, it just dropped the score for me. So it's really hard to say how I'm going to rank this race, to be honest. I'm probably not going to give a ranking to this race just because it's so hard to predict, because this race is having these so topsy and turns. It was fun at times, but also chaotic at the end of the day. I guess I'll give my score maybe around like a 7 at this point. I'm not even sure at this point. Probably change my ranking as time goes on. It was a very chaotic and wild race. Hard to say this is one of the wackiest races I've seen so far this year. It wasn't as bad as the Martinsville Truck Series race, so there's that for sure. But I think it was one of the weirdest races we've seen so far this year with all the chaos, the red flags, among other things. It was a very wacky race today at Michigan. So, that is going to be it for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race review from Michigan. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go to more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's race. Your thoughts on today's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And congratulate the winner of the race, Stewart Friesen, on picking up the win, winning one of the weirdest races. Again, this race is kind of stupid at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We're going to have the Truck Series, we're going to have the Cup Series starting lineup race for the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan. Tomorrow, we're also going to have the Cup review for Michigan, and we're also going to have that big Dodge announcement. They might have leaked it during the Fox broadcast that Cletus Zafran might be going there, even though Garrett has kind of said he's not even sure if he's going to be there at this point. We've got a big Ram announcement coming tomorrow, and the Cup review as well. We got content coming on people like Haley Diggins, Shaman Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Walsh, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Preece, Brad Keselowski, the lawsuit updates, because we had some thoughts coming out from the people part of the lawsuit earlier today, and we got a lot of other content to talk about, including Brendan Queen being interested in moving up in the Truck Series next year, among other things as well. Same with Eric Almirola, Chandler Smith. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content, same with junior motorsports content results, all the good stuff. We'll talk about all this stuff very soon. Take care, everybody.